it's Supermoon here, back at it again with another pick a card. Today we are doing September predictions. I don't know why I sound like a ghost. Woo! I wanted to cover all the bases in this episode because a lot of the time when I do these readings, I'm just reading whatever, Spirit and the cards find is most important for you to know. But I think we can all agree when it comes to monthly predictions, you'd kind of love an overall general spread. So I am going to cover, no matter what, in minier spreads, money, which means career or just general money coming your way, relationships, and this refers to romantic situations, whether you're single or a couple, spiritual, and then the fourth little section is just going to be kind of like a question mark of like, is there anything left being, unsaid or I didn't cover that you need to know? So let's get excited. It's going to be a well-rounded month. I can feel it in my future spooky bones because Halloween's going to be coming up in 2 months. So we've got group number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Down below in the description are the timestamps for the following piles. Pick whatever resonates with you most, and let's get started. Oh, with group number 1. Group number 1. Let's start with the money section of your September predictions. We've got 9 of Swords in reverse, 3 of Pentacles in reverse, and we've got the Full Upright. Okay, this is actually really great. So you're gonna get a new job. This is great. It looks like it's been causing you a lot of grief for a while now. But there's a lot of good going on here. So, and some important things to take note of. So in the 9 of Swords in reverse, this talks about this like feeling of insecurity and anxiety, but the big thing is that it's all in your head. It's not real. It's kind of like you've just been building it up and making it a bigger deal than it is. And the reason why you're feeling that way is in the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. This talks about somebody who feels insecure that maybe they aren't offering enough to the job the way everybody else is. Maybe you compare yourself work ethic or ability or talent wise to them and you feel you're not up to par. But either way, whatever the feeling is, there's a general sense of detachment. You just kind of dread going there. You're just not motivated to go there or passionate about where you're at. And sometimes when we have these type of mentalities, it's like our bodies in a weird positive self-sabotaging way of creating problems where there are none as a motivation to get you out of there. You're not meant to be there. You don't want to be there. Get out of there. And so that leads us to the Full Upright. The Full Upright is about a new job, but the important thing to pay attention to is it's about a job where you've never been there. It's not the work field you would have been there normally. Either way, you can view it as a place you don't really have a lot of experience in, possibly even education in, because like a lot of us get a college degree, but then we don't end up in the career that uses that college degree. So if you're looking for a job right now or thinking like, yes, I do want to leave my job, but I'm not really getting any word back right now, so maybe it's making you feel even more anxious. Keep in mind that, and Spirit's telling me that some of you are really anxious about that for some people who are in that situation. Keep in mind you haven't got accepted because you are not applying to the right places. The universe wants to send you somewhere new. It thinks you need it, and it wants you to have the confidence that while you will go into this not as capable or experienced, I don't want to say capable, it's not the word, you just don't have the abilities or background that your peers had, which seems like it would be kind of like, isn't that what made you possibly insecure in the first place? This tells you you were meant for this. You're going to kill it. You're going to do great, but you kind of want to go with that confidence and that kind of learning on the job type of experience and enjoy your new passion, because you're going to find a lot of happiness in it and find strength in the unknown. So go for it. Go for that new job. Definitely look for a place you're not familiar with. Definitely do a 180. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. So look forward to releasing that anxiety that's been building up for you. All right, time for the money portion. Did I say money? I'm sorry, love. 2 of Swords in reverse. Nine of Pentacles. Upright. And the Tower. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to answer this for couples and singles, of course, but we kind of have three different things going on. We have the single people, we have the people that are maybe just starting to date someone, it's been like a month, 2-3 weeks, very new, and then we have straight up couples. So for the single people, you're going to stay single, but in a good way. So the Two of Swords is about making up your mind, and you want to really go into this month being like, you know what? Screw it. I'm a little exhausted by dating or by not finding my special person or whatever it is. You know, I'm going to actively choose to be single. I'm going to be single. I'm going away from that. And when you do that, the Knight of Pentacles is awesome because it talks about independence and being alone, but it also talks about how great it is. It's like a really positive thing for you and you're going to benefit from it a lot, which is great. From this decision, though, this is really important. It's not just being single, but you're secretly hoping and still wishing someone shows up. You want to really kind of actively declare to yourself, your friends, the universe, I'm single. I'm leaving alone. And this is when, with a little bit of time alone this month, you get this wonderful dramatic change. But the thing about this dramatic change with the Tower to be note of is this is the kind of change that kind of can shake you up. Some people view it really negatively, but it most definitely does not have to be. It's something that is more dependent on your state of mind. So that's why the universe is asking you to find a positive perspective via being single. Because in the Tower reverse, if you are single and kind of not, you keep focusing on like the lack of love or where is he or she, the Tower might send you something that you don't really, that's not a fun shake-up. But if you're like, you know what, you're right, I need a break, and you know, look at her, she's living her best life, she's having a drink, she's enjoying a good book, she's outside, she's got her own lawn furniture. When you can afford outdoor furniture, you're killing it in life. But this will then lead to the type of change that could be like, you get that new job that I expressed before, and that new job involves moving or taking a dramatic, different lifestyle. And yes, it's like overwhelming at first, but it's just nothing but positive and kind of the 180 change we all wish for in life. If you are just currently dating someone, that newbie situation, this is, you're going to want to definitely make the decision. In fact, this says, now this can refer to your partner having already made a decision, which leads to like your happiness, but this can also refer to you making the decision. Either way, there's a decision's already been made. It's like the month hasn't even kicked off yet, and a decision's already being made in somebody's mind to not be together. And that's a good thing. You're going to benefit a lot from this because your dramatic situation that's happening in the Tower is that your person has a lot of negative baggage. Now, I'm not going to hate on anybody with baggage because, like, who the hell doesn't have something they're going through or have gone through in the past? But either way, this is not the type of thing you want to, build a relationship off of and get to know them and be like, oh, I understand you went through this, so now I understand you deeper. Let's build a relationship. This is the kind of baggage that's going to bring you down. It's going to burn you. You're going to get caught up in it. It is not worth it. Get out of there. If you're sensing that already, get out. You're getting a warning. Make that decision congruently, like really make it concrete is what I'm trying to say, and get out of there. And then definitely don't just jump into a relationship, but again, you're being advised to be alone, live your best life, have a section to just relax, and definitely make September a you month of like positive new you aloneness. Got tripped up on my words for a second. Now couples is different. I kind of see some time alone again, but for couples, this is not a negative thing. This is not a breakup. It kind of looks like you guys needed some time to think, but when you have some time to think, it doesn't always have to be a break. It can be a time where you're still together as a couple, but maybe you guys need some time where you're doing some more independent activities and you better understand who you are as a person outside of the couple and like what your interests are and stuff like that. You're being advised to, in fact. And then that talks about like when I see this decision having to be made, like someone's making up their mind type of situation, this is more about your partner's already made up their mind. So it looks like you guys have been trying to figure something out. Like that's why you're needing to spend some time alone. And while you spent your time alone, your partner like has figured it out for the both of you. They're like, this is where I stand, and they're going to bring you that information. Now, the tower really depends on what information they bring you. Again, this is a general reading because, again, the tower depends on the state of the relationship. So, on one hand, they could come to you and go, listen, this isn't going great. You know, I don't feel this is working out, whatever that state is. And this could unfortunately indicate a breakup. But on the other hand, this could indicate them coming to you and being like, you know what? I had some time apart. I'm coming back together. I've made my decision. I'm really into this relationship. I'm really, I realized I loved you more than ever, that kind of thing. You regroup. And this unexpected change is something that is like, okay, so I'm not saying you're gonna have a baby, but like if you had a baby and you're like, oh my God, did not anticipate a baby, but like, well, I'm kind of wouldn't mind a baby. Again, I'm not saying you're gonna have a baby, and this some of you who are listening to this reading could be like 19, so I am not saying anything to do with a baby. I'm just saying you as a couple might experience something unexpected that will shake you guys up and bring you even closer together in a positive way. You win a vacation, whatever that be. So definitely take some time to figure yourselves out. Know that you're really solid as a couple. If you're worried about that, definitely let your other partner know, like, we're still a couple. We just need some time to figure ourselves out. Understand that they're going to approach you first, having figured out they're like really into you and that whatever decision needed to be mulled over. Or maybe they were like, should I travel? Should I not travel? They're not going to travel without you. And then from this declaration of like, yep, we're together, we're a relationship, boom, you're going to have this wonderful positive change. So pretty cool. Now let's get into spirituality. We've got the 5 of Cups, 10 of Wands upright as well, and the Devil. This Devil card is like one of my OG favorite Devil cards. It's like so over the top glamorous. Okay, so right away I can tell there is, I'm trying to say this in the most sensitive way possible because this is going to sound kind of harsh, but keep in mind I really do not mean it harshly. I'm just not, I don't always have the right words to express myself. So this is kind of coming from somebody who has the best intentions to be there or help other people, but in a way is kind of masking their own personal problems or the things they need to deal with. It's kind of its own unfortunate, unhealthy habit or addiction kind of thing. And that needs to stop. That's what your spiritual advice is for the month, essentially. Because in the 5 of Cups, this is about like helping someone, getting them through whatever, that maybe you're the friend that always helps out, other people and stuff like that. And this is about, always having empathy, which is a really positive thing. But where it kind of takes a turn is in the 10 of Wands upright. This talks about the idea of like, it's asking you the question that when you approach your friends and you're there for them and you're supporting other people, are you doing it for the right reasons? Like, are you doing it because you're like, oh my God, my friend's in pain? You might, and this is, again, because I see the Devil card in here, you might actually be not fully aware you're doing it. You might just really like that feeling of feeling dependent on, or like you feel insecure and feel like that's your one strength, is being that person everyone relies on. Maybe you don't feel that you are good enough as is and have other traits that can be more dependable. Like, because a lot of people, in fact, run into, actually I run, a lot of tarot readers, funny enough, run into a position I've come across where, like, everyone comes to them for advice, and I'm not talking because they were tarot readers, I'm talking about, like, when they were younger, like, personality-wise, come to you for advice, but then, like, they don't really include you as much as they should, considering they, like, opened up to you so much. So this is kind of, like, Spirit's, like, telling me this, like, in the hopes of connecting to the idea that's trying to be expressed here. So the Devil card talks about how this is like an unhealthy habit. Like, are you filling a hole that can't be filled through this interaction? You need to take some time to be a little more selfish. And in being selfish, it's not that everyone's using you for your empathy and advice. I mean, there is that aspect of it. It's more the spiritual advice in this particular spread is saying, take some time to be alone and deal with that part of yourself that feels insecure, that you don't have anything else to offer. You do. Demand it. Like, and tell your friends you want to go out for movies, and if they start opening up about, they just want to only talk about their relationship issues, tell them, hey, we can totally talk about this another time, but do you mind if I want to talk about other things? And if you don't feel a connection there, you'll know who's got your back and who doesn't, and you can open up your world for people that respect you more and can give you confidence. Because this definitely feels like, to me, that over time you've unfortunately built up friend groups around you and situations. Spirit's kind of like taking over right now, by the way, that you've kind of unfortunately built up some friend groups around you that don't treat you so nice, and so you just think that this is your worth, when that's just the people that are treating you that way. So it's definitely stop doing that, because it's not making you any happier. And keep in mind, the devil also reminds you that there is like a sense of, it doesn't mean you can't be there for anyone ever again and be someone's, what's it called? Counsel, be there for someone in that way. But understand when you're doing it and why you're doing it and who you're doing it for. Did they earn that respect and loyalty for you? Let it take time to develop that sense of openness. And now for kind of like, question mark mystery part of the spread. Is there anything else you need to know? Oh, that is such a cool card. That is, Unlock the Wolf. That is a cool card. 7 of Swords in reverse. We've got the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. And we have the High Priestess in reverse. Okay. This kind of makes me think about the job situation again and the spiritual section of the thing. So in the Knight of Pentacles, I refuse to say coins. I'm sorry, it's pentacles. In the Knight of Pentacles, this is about somebody who's working their butt off. But unfortunately, it's like the more they work, they're not going anywhere. It's not becoming anything, unfortunately. It's kind of a stagnation. You're kind of like digging yourself into a hole is the best way I can put it, which is unfortunate. And so the High Priestess is kind of here to check you and say, listen, girl, and if you're a boy listening to this, you're still going to be a girl. Listen, girl, you think you know what you're doing, and you think in your gut you are following your intuition, but you're not. You're subconsciously becoming that type of person that says, if I do X, Y, and Z, I will get A, B, and C. But that's not always the case. And you're not following the natural flow of life and waiting for opportunities to present themselves, noticing when to pull back. Nothing. You're too geared in almost a future mindset. And you're also then, as you're digging yourself deeper into this mindset, you're creating more of a mentality subconsciously of lack. Why am I working this hard and I'm not getting X, Y, and Z? So that's all your brain is at. And this is saying, like, stop that. You gotta, like, back up and pull away from the way you're approaching your situation and rebuild that, that part of yourself that knows how to read a situation, knows how to be connected to their intuition and make the right moves again. You do. When this pops up, this kind of says, like, you are capable of it, but you've kind of accidentally got pulled away from it. And then 7 of Swords in reverse is great because it also kind of clarifies and gets a little more exact with this advice. The 7 of Swords talks about you seeking advice from somebody else. So you want to pull away from this situation. It's kind of like a bit of a dead end. And you want to see what other people are saying. And from there, you can then like spend some time alone, compare what they have to say with how maybe you normally used to think, like clear your head and regroup before you move forward. And that's going to really reset this situation to kind of being more in your favor. But for now, you're just kind of running yourself into the ground, and you need to like stop and take a break. So this again could refer to your job. This could refer to anything, but this could definitely refer to your job where you feel like you're stuck. This could definitely refer to maybe your relationships with friends. It's not working. You need to get back in touch with yourself. Maybe I'm the High Priestess, like making you be connected to your High Priestess. Who knows? But either way, that's what's in the cards for you this month. I hope you enjoyed this read as much as I did. I always love doing this stuff. So please consider giving it a like and a subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. And let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2. Let's look at the money section first for your September prediction. We've got Queen of Pentacles in reverse, 7 of Swords upright, and Knight of Cups in reverse. Okay, so, oh, this is kind of a rough spread. Okay, so this is not about loss or growth. This is kind of an abstract one. It's not like, it's almost more of a mindset when it comes to money, and it's kind of a warning. So it looks like in September, this is Spirit's also telling me you're coming from a perspective where you're already struggling with this and it's kind of carrying over in September, but you're kind of given like the final warning of like, stop doing this. So the Queen of Pentacles in reverse is somebody who is just really, they're dealing with a lot of nervousness around money. They're struggling with self-doubt. There's a sense of holding and hoarding their money to a point where it's not the same positive connotations I take from the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is like talking about the awareness of what are you putting out there? What are you giving back? What are you taking in? Can you give that right now? Maybe you can't. It's okay to hold it to yourself. This is like, don't do that. You're not doing a good job of doing it. You shouldn't be doing it. And because you're doing it, you need to be aware that your stock you're holding on to, the amount of money you have left, does have a limitation. It's going to dry up, and unless you change your attitude, essentially. Now, I know this is like really difficult to say, especially or hear if you are currently unemployed or you're just struggling financially. It's totally understandable. Please keep in mind this is not an attack on your character or anything negative like that. The cards are just wanting you to understand that you're not getting more of those financial opportunities you want or that change of scenery that you clearly desperately want unless you change your mindset. Because this is where you're at and this is where you need to be kind of idea, because this continues on in the Seven of Swords upright. This is somebody who's like very controlling. This controlling of the money has bled over into other aspects of your life, and it's like affecting you even more than you're aware of. And this then continues on into the Knight of Cups in reverse, which talks about the idea of emotional disappointment. So you're not going to get anything out of this. It's not going to be a happy ending if you keep doing this. You have to stop doing this. It's really hard to say that, especially like I said, the given circumstances, but this kind of lets you know that you need to pull back. Maybe if there's a moment where you feel like a situation should go a certain way, don't give your input. Let things work out the way they're going to work out. Start that way in smaller aspects of your life. As far as money is concerned, it's hard to tell someone, especially if they're in a financial situation, to just be like, don't worry about money, when like understandably so, you're very concerned about money, and you can't just go doing the opposite and spending a bunch of money, especially if you don't have that money. But it's more of an advice that it's too much at the forefront of your mind. This spread has nothing to do with you getting a job, not getting a job, earning money, nothing. It's a mindset, and it's that much more of at the forefront of your mind that it came out through the cards first. So the best advice right now would be like, learn to stop controlling things everywhere, including your finances. Take a breath, pull back, and just don't think about it. Just don't talk about it. You can still, make the wise decisions you're making with your money, but don't make money such a priority in your conversation or where you're thinking, because it's making you view everything as lacking or against the world type of perspective, and you don't need to view everyone or everything as your enemy financially. There's a lot of positivity, but you need to change that perspective, or it's just gonna make you more upset. It's going to be awful. It's not going to give you what you want. All this controlling isn't going to work. So a bit harsh, but it doesn't talk about anything negative going to happen in September. It's more of just like a warning to give you the things you do want. So let's move on to the relationship part of the spread and see if we have some more positive news we can throw your way. 3 of Wands in reverse, Temperance, and 7 of Swords in reverse. We just got 7 of Swords. This is a lot more positive. Okay. So it's kind of funny. I feel like this slowness that's being repeated in this spread is definitely coming from your mindset and perspective in the money portion. So this is essentially about if you are single, this is about somebody who is going to develop a romance, but it's going to be very slow. It's going to be slow. In the Three of Pentacles, the Three of Wands in reverse, this is about you guys coming together. It is not fireworks. It doesn't even seem like it's going to be a romance. There's not a lot of like really quick one date after another, all these really fast texts, because you both are making room for each other. This is like clearing out bad relationships, whether they be exes or not great friends. Maybe you're just moving. You're physically moving and you need a better place to be able to think and love and so on and so forth. Whatever it is, there is a sense of getting ready, and that's why it's taking a little while. Another reason why it's taking a while is in the Temperance card. Temperance card is so sweet. Temperance card is like one of the cutest things I get in some of my private readings when it comes to romance. The Temperance card basically says that you are currently friends with them right now. And that's like the beginning stages of why it's so slow, because you've kind of been knowing each other for a while, but it hasn't really popped off into a romance. And again, the cool thing is they're now making room for you and vice versa. That's going to now turn into a really positive, both of these say it's a slow start, it's going to become a really great potential relationship. And that really comes from the 7 of Swords. Definitely take advantage this month because you're going to get a lot of a positive response from this person if you're really honest and open with them. Like, not just like letting them know how you feel, but go for it. Like, share some secrets. Like, be really in touch with them. Develop this thing. I wouldn't suggest, because like, keep in mind, like, there could be someone right before this that's developing that's not your person. Like, don't just like on the first date tell you your secrets. This is about a slow approach. It's just that, like, if you've been kind of dating someone right now or starting to date with someone, it's taking its time, like, feel free to be like honest and be like, hey, when I am in a relationship, this is what I like in a relationship. How do you feel about this? So on and so forth. But when it comes to couples, it's a little different. Couples is more, again, it's about slowness and that type of thing, but this is more coming from a perspective of, it looks like there's something that needs to be kind of mended in you guys, and like there are some compromises and some honest discussions that need to be had. This is about compromises being made and finding a balance in the relationship, and this is about, again, opening up to develop that. But both of these, all of these going on here, is about the general idea that, like, this is a great time in your relationship to start like breaking new ground. To now, whether, let's say you're in a little bit of a rough patch as a couple, this would definitely be the time to fix that. You're going to get a lot of positive results for that. But if you're like, oh, my relationship's great, this is how it will get even better, even deeper, even more romantic, is if you start to reach for and strive for more ground and really find ways to work well as a team, as well as getting to know each other on a personal, deeper level. But the biggest thing to keep in mind from both of these situations, whether you're single or a couple, is that it is a slow thing. You're going to want to open up to them, tell them something, make a compromise, give it 2 or 3 days to breathe, enjoy your time with them, don't overthink it. All this space is going to do a lot of good for everybody. It's going to let a lot of, things heal and thought over and develop in a way you're going to really want. So definitely enjoy that. Now time for the spiritual part of the spread, as a helicopter goes over my house and all the dogs in the neighborhood freak out. Knight of Cups in reverse. We've got the High Priestess, who, by the way, always looks like just she knows how to handle a situation. She's definitely a high priestess I could get behind. And your last card is Eight of Swords in reverse. Okay, so this is really cool. This is actually I consider the High Priestess a super spiritual card as is. And your spiritual advice is straight up about spirituality. It's about how your deeper sense of intuition that can help you manifest, that can help you guide things, the things that will lead you to the Magician tarot card, which is about being able to make things come into fruition and stuff like that. The Queen of Pentacles upright is actually about, which you currently have the reverse one in the money spread, is actually about taking nothing and turning it into something. Like, you have a real great ability to manifest and create. So to be able to achieve that, you're going to get all these benefits and more in your life, love life, everything, through this sense of understanding what you need to do naturally. Like, it's a gut reaction, but your gut reaction's kind of off. So this is where the advice really comes in, letting you know how you can get to that. On one hand, in the Knight of Cups, this is about the idea that you need to stop viewing things in a fantasy kind of way. Like, you need to give up romantic illusions, would be a good way to put it. There's like these weird barriers that you impose on yourself through this perspective of maybe how you would like things to be, or you're not seeing things as is. That's the best way to put it. And it's not being cold, but it's seeing a little mix of the facts, pulling back, and then even viewing your emotions in a bit of a frank way and being like, well, how do you feel about that as is? Not how you want it to be, if you know what I mean. Kind of need to get a little bit of a grip on your emotional mindset in that way. And in the Eight of Swords in reverse, this is about being aware that, like, you're making the right decisions this month to get rid of those mental habits in the financial field, and like anything that's kind of like a self-imposed type obstacle, you're getting rid of it, which is awesome. But be aware you're not making more room for more obstacles. Like, be aware of what are healthier habits and mindsets to be in, because it's not that they're saying they're going to come your way. It's that sometimes we get in such a habit of viewing things, like, let's say you view things in a lacking way. Maybe you no longer view your bank account in a lacking way, but you still view your opportunities in a lacking way. So be aware that you might have built up a habit that you need to really continuously need to fight off. But both of these things being handled with this controlling of your emotions and being a little more objective, and really just treating yourself the best and getting rid of your own things you're putting in your own way, is really going to help you kind of reconnect to who you are and kind of be able to regroup and be like, oh my God, I've been so dumb. I should have done this. And like, you're going to find that path again. Right now you're a little foggy and lost, but September's going to be a really great month for you to tackle these to get back on the right page, which is awesome. And let's look at your mystery part of the spread. We've got the World upright, Three of Swords in reverse, and the Star. Oh my God, this is awesome. Okay, so I hate, it's not fun telling people about rough stuff, and I would say some of the spread was a little bit rough, and I'm so sorry that it was that way. But this is like a great kind of conclusion and comfort of saying, like, listen, it's all going to be okay this month. In fact, if you've been struggling for a while, this is going to be your month where you really start to make new ground. Keep in mind, I don't think this is the month that's like everything's going to be perfect, but you're going to really get back on the right track and feel more in control of yourself, and things are going to turn out better in the next following months with like manifestations and finances and stuff like that. As we talked about, this romance is coming into your life, all this great stuff. So in here, we have a bunch of wonderful things going on. Straight Up the World talks about how this ending is coming, this ending of your pain, and it's going to turn out great. It's going to be successful. You're going to finally be out of that mindset. And it talks, but the thing that's so cool is like the Three of Swords also talks about releasing pain and getting rid of, like, you're finally overcoming your stuff. But this talks about a reward. So it's really cool because like it's almost as if you've Spirit's speaking up like really loud and clear. The sword the world is talking about how sorry, I'm getting whoa, okay, so Spirit is like very, 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 very intense about this message. This sword is like, I'm so sorry you've been through what you've been through, but this was a lesson. You need to understand that by overcoming this mindset you have in the money section of the spread, you are developing a really important sense of self and worth and finances, and like you're really like being able to change your perspective despite this situation you're going through is really important, and you're going to be rewarded for that. So there's now I can't this is a general spread and this is just for September, but there's like a really good chance that suddenly you'll have an influx of money or an opportunity or something, but like you're going to be rewarded in some way, which is awesome. The Three of Swords does let you know that it is important to acknowledge your pain, and there is a bit of deflecting in the Queen of Pentacles in reverse in that part of spread. Again, I keep coming back to it because it's just so major, and Spirit keeps bringing me back to it as well. It's like clearly a very like big focal point in your mindset. But in the Three of Swords in reverse, it says like acknowledge it, stop avoiding it, have a moment, maybe even break down and cry and say like, I'm not doing great, I don't feel great, I'm scared, or I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. Feel it, and then move on. Like, relax, move on. You can do it. Spirit believes you can do it and knows you can do it. You got this. And then once you do it that, like the second you do that, that's when these two cards come in, which is not only the wonderful conclusion to this pain and reward for it, but the star is like this beautiful message of healing and hope for a better tomorrow. But the big one is it's letting you know that like what you're doing is working and you're right on the right page. Go for it. That's your page you need to follow. That's where you need to go. So regroup, get connected to your intuition, relax, find a way to distract yourself from that mindset. This is like the month of healing and like rejuvenation. I think you're really setting yourself up for like a better tomorrow this month. So while the beginning was kind of like harsh and tough, it really just like ends in like the most beautiful positive way, and there's just like a lot of good stuff coming your way. And I'm getting a little teary-eyed because I'm just so happy for you, and I can feel I'm sorry. Sometimes I can I can feel people's like emotions really intensely through the spreads, and I can feel you're going to feel an immense sense of relief and happiness from this. I'm getting just kind of teary-eyed thinking about it. So I'm really excited for you. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like and consider subscribing. It helps out the channel so much. But either way, I am wishing you the best, and let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3, let's look at the money section of your September predictions. We've got Ace of Cups in reverse. We've got Seven of Cups in reverse. And we got Two of Swords in reverse. Okay, so we've got two things going on right off the bat for people who are both employed and unemployed. This read is much more for somebody who's been applying for jobs for a while. It looks like you're not pumped about wherever you're working at, and you're going to hear back about that job pretty early on into the month, which is great. So in Ace of Cups, I can see there's just a general, like, you're sick of your job, you've been wanting a change for a while, but this could also reasoning why you want to change job be about an ethical or an emotional conflict. This could range from maybe somebody at your job is just making life really tough for you and you're kind of tired of it. Maybe this is like a boss you're currently with that you're not happy with, or your peers. But I'm getting a stronger, and like Spirit's kind of speaking up, that it's more on like a moral high ground. There's just something that's not rubbing you the right way, and you're like, I gotta get out of here. This isn't who I am. I don't want to be involved with this anymore. So in the Two of Swords, right now, currently in August, going into September, they've made that decision. They're like, your future boss is like, I know what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to hire them or not. And then we get our yes answer from the Ace of Swords with that sense of like 100% commitment. You are going to be extremely passionate, and motivated because this is a job you've been wanting for a while. This is like a career or thing that you have a lot of interest in. So because you're so thankful and appreciative of this like big change in your life, you're just, you just get rid of all distractions in your life and you're really honed in and focused on this. And this is also telling you, take advantage of this opportunity and show them that you were worth hiring and that you're like the last one that leaves the office, the first one there type of concept. Which is super cool. Now, as far as people who are unemployed, this doesn't necessarily say that you're going to get the job because this is more urging you to start applying this month. Because again, it talks about how you're not happy there, but both of these cards repeat the same thing. They say, make a decision. Make a decision. You are clearly going back and forth, deciding if it's safer you stay your current role or should you start applying. It can be a pain for a lot of people. But this is urging you, you need to stop. You're not making yourself happy anymore. You're kind of making your life feel really conflicted by just wavering back and forth. And when it's so strong like this, it's not only wanting you to make a decision to feel better emotionally, so you're not up in the air of like what you should do at your current job, but it's with this kind of double saying the same thing. This is definitely tarot saying, go for it. Like this probably is the time that somebody would hire you. Let's see if we can pull a card to see if, yes, okay, cool. So you do get the job. So this is great. Again, repeating the same concept of like a lot of hard work and stuff like that, you're just going to be really dedicated. So very positive for people who are unemployed and currently employed. Now let's go into the love part of the spread, the general relationship part of the spread. We've got Strength upright. We've got the Emperor upright. We've got Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so these are kind of almost two totally different reads depending on if you are single or in a relationship, pardon me. In the single department, it looks like you're going to meet just like a straight up hottie. Strength card is just like a very positive, sexual signs. And a lot of people read this for whatever reason as a blanket father figure, kind of like an older male. But I don't think that this is blanketly always the truth. For me, this usually is somebody who is of authority above you. This is somebody who's your boss. This is somebody who's just got a lot of power. So maybe this is like somebody in a position where they order a lot of other people around. They have a lot of connections, a lot of money. There's definitely a certainty in their position. And maybe even potentially that attracts you to them. Either way, this general hottie, this older male you're going to be with, that's got a lot of power and stuff like that, things kick off in the bedroom. There is just like a very healthy, happy, positive interactions in the bedroom, which is awesome. But this is kind of a letting you know that this is not going to develop into anything. In the Seven of Pentacles, this talks about like you need to be aware that as you put your energy into this person, you're not going to get anything back from them. There's not going to be a harvest for you to get from this. This is not going to turn into anything. They're too consumed with their place and their positioning and what they're doing in their regular life. You're kind of, to put it blankly and upfrontly, you're kind of their side piece. But the thing is, if you are enjoying your interactions with them and you don't really care about it being something in the long term, it's fine to enjoy your activities with them. They're apparently very attractive and you're going to have a good time in the bedroom. So if you want to do that during September, go for it. But just be aware if you're developing this fun relationship, it's not going to become anything. It's just kind of wasted energy if your future goal is to be with someone, monogamously or whatever you define in your partnerships as a long-term thing. But for couples, it's a totally different situation. So this is again about your bedroom being like really healthy and up, and you're having a lot of sex. It's a good thing. But the thing is, it's kind of becoming a barrier between you and the part of your relationship that wants to build something for the long term. And this type of construction would involve those type of bigger discussions and clear, you know, where are we going? Do we want to be a full monogamous relationship? More conversations about, like, do we want to have kids in the long term? Should we just talk about, should we move somewhere to buy a house? These type of like bigger concepts. I'm giving the really dramatic versions. It does not have to be that dramatic this month to discuss that with your person, but it's just like a clear, like, we both know we're headed in the same direction. We're building a little, like, kind of longer term. I'm getting a very, like, serious, like, family unit type thing. Again, not everyone has to have kids, but it's that idea, like, it's you and me against the world type thing. But the thing is, when I see this kind of conflict going on, clearly there's an interest to, like, develop this part of your relationship, but you're both kind of a little bit afraid of having to have these discussions, not because you're afraid the answer is going to be no and the other person's not into it, because clearly there is that chemistry and connection. There is, I don't think it's like you're not talking at all, but it's more of a, in the past, things haven't always worked out with someone that you've been so quick to be with in the bedroom, and it's almost like things are too good, you don't want to mess it up. But you do need to talk about it. It isn't going to mess it up. And the Seven of Pentacles, this is more about urging you to kind of back off the bedroom activities and regroup. This is about, this is not something that says you're not going to be together. This is not a negative card in the least. It just talks about, you know, if you want this, you're going to need to both have a discussion and be like, listen, we need to pull back from this for a second. Let's have a talk. Let's have a chat. Let's start kind of seeing where we're at, and then you can totally bring this back in. But it's definitely urging you, this is a good time this month to be, you know, start establishing those foundations. So pretty cool either way. Let's talk about your spirituality for this month. There's that fairness we talked about in your job. Your, like, moral high ground we talked about. Okay, so this is kind of, I love this. This is so interesting. The human experience is such a weird and wonderful thing. There's no one way to go about achieving a goal, especially when it comes to something like love. And when we're referring to love in this type of the spread, part of the spread, this is more about like general love, like love for yourself, love for others. There's just like a general happiness and bliss and vulnerability to express it. But a lot of people, when I read for them, especially in private readings, it's often about the idea of something being in your head, or you need to just learn to build trust. It's coming from a very emotional level, but this is very cut and dry, logical. It's more about the mind getting you there, which is really interesting. It also talks a lot about ethics, which I think is cool. So here, this is kind of a bit of somebody who is tough love. So this month, it really wants you, the universe and tarot wants you to focus on being somebody who is very upfront with people and being aware that by not telling people the truth, you're not helping them. So this is kind of, this could be more about a conversation of like sharing, you know, your truth, like, this is what I want, this is how I want to be treated, so on and so forth. And this is letting you know that you're not helping anyone if you shield them from the truth. That's the Queen of Swords kind of motto, is like, she wants to be really clear about her intentions and desires and how she feels about people, both in their, and this definitely goes over into the Justice card about how she feels about their interactions. So the Justice card talks about being aware of not breaking the rules when it comes to spirituality, which is kind of a weird way to put it, but it talks about the idea that, like, you're aware of what's the right thing to do. Sometimes a lot of things in life are very gray, but this is making you focus this month on the black and whiteness of the right thing to do. You know when something doesn't feel right. You know if somebody isn't treating someone well. If you find yourself making any sort of excuses saying like, well, you know, Kevin's a good guy, like he didn't mean to, you're not hearing yourself. You need to be very upfront with them and others and make the right decisions, because when I see this card, which I like do not get this card very often in a spirituality. In fact, like I can't even remember the last time I did. So when this type of card pops up in this part of the spread, this is letting me know you've been struggling with that a little bit. There's the clear desire to want to do the right thing, spiritually and morally and all that stuff. It's not saying you're like a bad person. It's just saying that you would feel a lot of relaxation and comfort in yourself, knowing without a doubt, you know, this is what I have to do, and following those rules for yourself. Again, this is more on a spiritual front. This isn't about rules of the world, but it's about fairness and being upfront. But then this, interestingly enough, leads to the Four of Wands upright. This is a really sweet, lovey-dovey card. So from doing this, this helps you feel much more confident and figure out who are the people you want to have around you, who can handle the truth, that kind of thing, who's going to make the right decision to influence you and make you feel your best. Because sometimes we can be around people who are not doing the right thing, and it just makes us feel icky by being in proximity. And this then lets you know that as you're doing that this month, and also this does, I do want to mention that this also is kind of warning of like, don't just be so brutally honest you're hurting people. There is a balance to it. This definitely talks about balance. But anyways, in the Four of Wands, this is all about take this love you feel, like dig deep, find it, start sharing gratitude, but share that gratitude. Be really open about it. Let people know that you're, you know, grateful for them and your experiences with them. Really just kind of make that a priority this month of being very loving, and find your path to love and expression through love through this very logic, you know, rule-based format, which is so weird and interesting. But that seems to be, you know, the last thing I'll say as far as this spread before I finish this is everybody has a different way of getting there. And sometimes people need to hear more on an emotional side. Sometimes people need to hear about how to overcome a challenge. This is more of a mental game with you, and an abstract thing that is your finishing puzzle piece to feeling like your best self and being able to be very, very vulnerable and live your truth. So, which is cool. So it's like, now you know. Okay, let's now get to the question mark part of the spread with, let's see what else tarot has to say for you. Oh, I just talked about that. Ace of Cups in reverse, 10 of Cups upright, and 2 of Swords. Here we go, fitting these beautiful big cards in here. Upright. Okay, so wait, let me not jump ahead. Let me look at the cards real quickly. So this, yeah, I just talked about this in the Four of Wands. Okay, so this is kind of a bit of a repeat from the spirituality, and kind of this is definitely leaking over into parts of the relationship part of the spread. This is definitely about finances. This is like the creme de la creme, like it all coming together type thing. So in the Ace of Cups in reverse, this talks about you need to be very vocal with your happiness, because, or sadness more importantly. You need to let people know what you want and how you want to be defined to be able to receive it. You're not going to have what you want in life unless you let people know where you're at. In fact, it's kind of urging you to not hold back this month. And you're going to find a lot of happiness and bliss with the 10 of Cups by being very clear with people when you're like, you know what, I'm not happy. And they're like, wow, you know, Samantha's just not been going through a good time. I should maybe go out of my way to be there for her more and stuff like that. But it's definitely letting you know this is a time to focus on that. In the 10 of Cups, it also repeats what the Four of Wands was saying, which it just talks about like sharing love, like being really open about it. This is something you want to make a priority, like above anything this month, even more so than money. You kind of want to make just the general feeling of happiness and love like a priority. It should be very apparent. It says you're going to receive it and be able to feel it really deeply, but it also lets you know, like, don't let it become to such a boastful act. I don't think that's going to be a problem for you, but it's just something to keep in mind. It's not about a bragging rights. It's about just experiencing like a deep level of bliss. You know what I mean? Two of Swords, though, is kind of interesting. This is kind of a weird card, if I'm being honest with you, because it's kind of like all of this feels very, I don't want to say fast, but very upfront. But then the Two of Swords kind of pops in and says, don't rush it. So that kind of feels, I guess, a little contradictory. But I think what it's trying to say is you don't need to hear this reading and then go into September being like, I'm so happy. It's like, let things work out. You know, take your time. Opportunities are going to present themselves of when you need to speak to people frankly, spiritually, when you're going to make the right decisions in your relationships with people and the romance thing. You know, it's going to work out. So just kind of go with it. Don't force a narrative because you're so excited to experience that narrative. So I guess you need to hear that right now because that's just a little bloop in the spread I did not anticipate. Either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed hearing about this month's predictions as much as I enjoyed giving them. If you enjoyed this, please consider giving it a like and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. But either way, thank you so much for today. Have a beautiful day. Let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's start with the money section of your September predictions. We've got 5 of Wands upright, the Moon in reverse, and we've got 10 of Pentacles. Okay, I can like start off right away. You are being gaslit. It looks like during the month, but this is really cool because this is about you've been being gaslit for a while, and that some, you know, things are going to work out in your favor this month. So I can see here, this is, I'm getting a strong, like, boss vibe. This could be with a peer, but I'm getting much more of a, somebody who's higher up than you. Like, this could be a supervisor, it could be anything. But whatever it is, they are kind of, really kind of trying to poke the bear with you, test your energies a little too much, get you sucked into a lot of vigorous debate. It's not fun for you because in the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, this talks about the idea of you wasting a lot of energy. This can refer to money too, but I'm getting much more of a stronger emotional thing going on here. They're really kind of forcing you to express yourself so much and aggressively. It's really wearing you out. And it's super tiresome and annoying and useless and wasteful for you. It's almost like they're aware of that because in the Moon reverse, this is just straight up, this is all about somebody who's already has a job and about this person's real, true intentions coming to light. So the cool thing is, this thing you've been going through for a while, you kind of need to be aware that you're getting your energy sucked from them and to not allow that to happen. I know that's a lot to ask of anyone to say, like, just don't let it bother you, but you need to understand everything they're saying is just to upset you. So it doesn't really matter what they have to say. It's not real. You don't have to worry. Like, you know who you are. Just leave it alone. Because while you're, like, being tough and kind of, you know, not letting it get to you, they are going, like, it's going to bite them. Like, they are going to be revealed for the person that they are. Now, this can just be related to everyone being like, yeah, you know what? They are somebody who reveals their intentions, or I'm sorry, reveals their intentions. Someone who wastes, you know, your time and they're aware of how mean they are. It's not such a private beating. But this kind of feels more to me like they've been openly ridiculing or rude to you. Everyone's very aware of that they pick on you. But, like, they could have a little... I'm kind of getting a vibe that they're doing something that's either potentially unethical at their job that they shouldn't be doing. There's something that, like, they're not supposed to be doing and they're taking it out on you and everyone's going to know. And then this could potentially mean that they could even straight up get fired because everyone's like, wait a minute, what are you doing now? And all you got to do is not get caught up in the crosshair. So just keep your cool. I know it's tough. Let's go into the relationship part of this spread. Got Page of Pentacles in reverse. We've got 6 of Pentacles upright. We've got Page of Wands in reverse. Okay, give me a second, because this does refer to both singles and people in relationships, like couples. That's so funny. It looks like something that's already getting repeated. I wonder if this will repeat more in the spread, but This is already, again, talking about the idea of like wasted energy, wasted finances, that type of concept. There's a lot of wasting going on in September. Keep in mind, the cool thing about this particular spread is nothing's really set in stone. So this doesn't mean it's gonna happen. It means that like it could start to happen in September, and you can be aware of these things and pull back and like not allow people, because it's very much not, it's like people are putting you in positions to do this. So how do I want to do this? Do I want to do single people first or couples? I guess couples makes, okay, yeah, Spirit's saying couples. So this already is like a warning of saying you're wasting your time, energy, money, whatever it is. And this here talks about how your partner is, there's a need for them to, be equal and do the same for you. And that's why you're wasting it, because they are not equally being generous in these multitude of ways. And you are, and you're wasting your time because it's not a fruitful relationship, essentially. You're not, how do I say this? Because this is going to seem kind of blunt, but I guess I'll just be blunt. Sometimes we can view our relationships, if you want to be really upfront, as kind of these like containers. And the more we put into them, we're supposed to, or we feel we're supposed to, get that equal amount of back, or know like I dedicated myself this much to this person, so I've earned this much loyalty. That kind of concept, kind of like a bank, so to speak. I know it seems kind of harsh, but you can see it that way. Well, this is letting you know, as you fill up that container, it's almost always emptying out. It doesn't mean anything. You're not building up to something else. It seems like when I get this type of reading, they don't have the intention to do that. This could, because this is your short mini spread, this could be out of personal selfishness. Maybe they just don't view you as someone they want to build a long-term future with, or it could just be just general callous, like this is how they are as a person. But either way, in the Page of Wands, this is not saying that you're going to break up at all. Not in the least. This is more of your own personal decision. But it is kind of urging you to spend some time without your partner. You could even say to your partner, just as a kind of, this spread is very much from the perspective of somebody who's kind of testing out the boundaries of like, should I be in this relationship anymore? Spend some time where you're not with your partner and you go out with friends, because there's a lot more creative, support, general positive encouragement from your peers. There's a lot of popularity in this card. There's just a lot of like fruitful things coming out of not being in this type of situation. And maybe if you spend some time away from them, you could decide, maybe I'm happier and better off without them. But either way, it looks like you're feeling very depleted, especially from your job situation. It would just be generally beneficial for you if you sometimes said to your partner, like, oh, I'm just going to go out with my friends or something, and spend some time getting that type of encouragement and support that you need. Like, it's not like the Four of Pentacles situation where it's like you don't have this emotional stuff to give. Just, you kind of need a little bit of an energy boost from your peers, and you're not getting it here either in this relationship as well as your job situation. But anyways, for single people, this is more about like, how do I say this? This is kind of interesting. In contrast, this is about you wasting your time with people that are new. This person that you potentially could kind of get with is someone you already know. This is somebody who you've dated before, or there's been some sort of interaction, clear interaction that you've wanted to date, and this is a form of a second chance. And you know them already, and you've already had these interactions, and you're wasting your time by looking out into the world for somebody new, because this person's right in front of you. This is somebody who's given you a lot of encouragement. They've given you a lot of support. This generally seems like a pretty positive, deep down there's a lot of good things about them. So it's basically like pointing you in that general direction that you should check out that relationship, which is pretty cool. So, pretty upfront. Let's get to the spiritual side of the relationship. Not the relationship, sorry, the spread. The spiritual side of you. Okay, we've got the World in reverse. Got the Two of Swords upright. Oh my god, these cards are so wiggly. Got the Hangman. Oh my god, that's so funny. Okay, so you're kind of caught between two different things right now of how you want to handle, like everything, handle your spirituality. This is kind of like a mindset for other things when it comes to your relationship. This is very much a mindset for your job situation. And you're kind of caught into these two different perspectives. So, like, the world is kind of bluntly saying, you are asking for more time, you don't need it. Stop procrastinating, be upfront, make a decision, like go for it. Like you feel stalled yourself, right? So that's why you've been procrastinating. We talked about how in the job situation you're like not quite sure what to do with this person who's been kind of gaslighting you, and it's a reassurance of like, don't worry, their energy is going to come out. Or like maybe you're not the happiest in the relationship, you're kind of feeling that you're wasting your energy, time, and money, but it's not pointing you to straight up break up. It's just kind of like, hey, maybe you try what it's like without them a little bit. And then the other side straight up says that, the hangman. It's talking about, this is always about the idea that it's better to, a third decision besides leaving someone or being with someone is kind of sticking it out, because you're afraid to move forward because you know nothing feels right. And it's reassuring you that nothing is right at this time to make a definitive decision. But then the Two of Swords, who is the person that's like, which side do I choose? Like, I'm not sure what to do. Is actually just by existing in themselves more points towards the Hangman thing. At the same time, it actually repeats very much what the Hangman says with that idea of like, don't rush into a decision or you're going to actually mess it up. That this is pointing out that you might mess it up because you're not fully aware of the entire situation. Again, going back to the intentions of your boss, or like, maybe you're just not ready, but this is about not sitting still and doing nothing. It's just being aware that it's not the right time. Relax. Things are with the combination of this and this, it seems like things are already being set into motion, and what we saw from the spread, things are being set into motion. You're going to hear back about your boss, you're going to hear back about relationship type thing, but just kind of relax and knowing that by taking your time and letting things kind of work themselves out, that's the right decision. That you shouldn't feel guilty about like wasting any more time. You shouldn't feel guilty about like, should I leave my job? What should I do? You should just relax and know that you're in a weird way moving forward by doing nothing. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if I need to say anything else about that. I said that so like straight up. Yeah, okay, cool, yeah. Don't worry about it. So let's see if there's anything else left in your question mark part of the spread. We've got Six of Swords in reverse. Got Five of Swords in reverse. And, oh, here's your boss. Emperor in reverse. Yeah. I love when, like, the question mark part of this spread kind of brings it all together and repeats back a lot of, like, hunches and things like that I've had throughout the spread to basically confirm, like, yep, that's true, and focus on this. So, in the Emperor, this is about somebody who is abusing power. Again, this is the person who's gaslighting you, taking advantage of the fact that you can't talk back to them kind of concept. And this is the reassurance. Like I said before, I had a hunch this was the case, but in the Five of Swords, this straight up just says, do not emotionally lose it on this person or anyone near you. Keep it together, keep it strong, because this is the reassurance that it's going to end up working out in your favor, but only if you prove to your peers that you are kind of mentally stable, that you don't let it get to you. They're not going to remember from the situation that you're the person that lashed out, even though you rightfully so, you totally were fair in that. They're only going to remember the person who made the bad decisions and treated you wrongly. So stay quiet. It's more for you than them. You're not lying or giving up on yourself. Like we talked about in the spirituality type of friend, it's just nothing feels right because nothing is right kind of situation. And then in the Six of Swords, Six of Swords, sorry, I blanked for a second. Six of Swords in reverse, this talks about, again, repeating the idea of like, don't jump into it. Don't don't just leap into making an accusation towards your boss. Don't just leap into breaking up with your special person because it doesn't feel right. Like wait for a second. But it also talks about the idea of finishing what you started. So don't jump into new things because it's not the right time, but also like wait for the situation to work out with your boss. It's not done there yet. We already know what's going to happen. Don't, rush forward with your relationship and other things like that and your spirituality. Like focus on wrapping up what's happening right now. So overall, pretty cool, pretty conclusive to some bummer things you're going through, but either way, it's all really positive. If you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed giving it, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. But either way, I am wishing you a wonderful and happy day, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye!